everyone was hurt and impacted as a result of the war. IRA volunteers who were killed on active service, British soldiers, state personnel, RUC people, and many, many other unconnected civilians and non-combatants.
I regret that so many of our lives were lost. We didn't go to war, war came to us.
It can't be just about blaming one side. It can't be about blaming us. Though we have some responsibility, of course, we're not trying to shirk that.
This article, published in the Republican newspaper An Phoblacht, reads like a signal for something. A decade ago, on the 30th anniversary of the slaughter on Bloody Friday, the IRA spoke words of apology to the families of those described as non-combatants. In a spate of bombings on July 21st, 1972, 9 people were killed, 2 of them soldiers. It was one bloody day in a conflict of many other bloody days. Now the Republican leadership is being urged to go further, to use the word sorry for all the hurt it caused. The author of the article is Declan Kearney, national chairperson of Sinn Féin. And at his level of the Republican leadership, there is no such thing as a solo run. So we can be confident that his words will reflect the thinking of others at the highest level of the Republican movement.
Who would have imagined 20 years ago that it would be possible to see a Good Friday Agreement, that it would be possible to see partnership in government, that it would be possible to see an entirely new policing dispensation? I don't do impossibility.
Do you think this is possible? And not just from a Republican perspective, but from others reciprocating?
Everything is possible when we apply our collective genius with common purpose to delivering on what we all should seek to leave behind for our children. And that's a new society at peace with itself.
These are some of the key sentences in his An Phoblacht article. Regardless of the stance of others, we should recognise the healing influence of being able to say sorry for the human effects of all actions caused during the armed struggle. And he also writes, a deep suspicion remains within Unionist communities towards Republicans due to the legacy of the armed struggle. Inside the Republican community, the Kearney article poses a particular challenge to IRA Republicans, to those who were directly involved in the armed campaign. So what do they think is possible? And how big a step are they prepared to take along the road to sorry? Just yesterday, Declan Kearney was speaking to Republican ex-prisoners, some who spent long years in jail. They included Shana Walsh, who in July 2005 was chosen to read the IRA endgame statement.
The leadership of Ogie and Ahern has formally ordered an end to the armed campaign. All IRA units have been ordered to dump arms. We reiterate our view that the armed struggle was entirely legitimate.
And that final thought raises a huge question. How can you say sorry for the hurt caused and still maintain the war was right?
We weren't responsible for the conflict. We were part of the conflict. And if what people are interested in is a genuine process of dialogue and reconciliation, then they have to be, unionists have to be open to the idea of considering their part in what caused the conflict.
I don't know where this will lead, but to me it can only be a positive matter. It's like somebody back in time did say, what if we stopped the armed struggle? Somebody had to say it. And in a similar way, people then say, what if we apologise to the civilians? And then somebody's saying here at the moment, what if we apologise or say sorry to people who have been hurt, who were members of the British state forces? I don't have a problem with it, although I would imagine there are people will have problems with it.
These things don't go away whenever the shooting stops. So there's all sorts of damage that we're going to be attempting to put right in the years ahead.
Republicans have their dead, their hurt and their analysis of the conflict, and so the boundaries are applied in terms of sorry.
When Evelyn Glenholmes was arrested 11 days ago, Scotland Yard's anti-terrorist branch were cock-a-hoop.
In the mid-1980s, Evelyn Glenholmes was labelled Britain's most wanted woman. All these years later, she now works with an ex-prisoners project, and she was there when Declan Kearney addressed the meeting yesterday.
I regret that the conditions existed in which my life and the lives of many people of my generation were changed irrevocably by the armed struggle, and I regret that so many of our lives were lost.
But you're not saying that the IRA war was wrong?
Absolutely not. We didn't go to war, war came to us.
Evelyn Glenholmes is not out of sync with Declan Kearney's thinking. He's not asking for an apology for the armed campaign, but for words including sorry that address hurt and which could have some healing impact.
And that word does have a healing potential, because at its essence it's about acknowledgement and a wish to find closure and developing the capacity to move on. We should learn our lessons from the past, and we should learn that we have an opportunity now and a responsibility not to leave future generations to reflect upon, unpick and make sense of fracture and division and hurt which they had no responsibility for causing.
So what we're hearing in the Republican community is that healing is not just about what the IRA says. And if the Republican leadership does say sorry, then there will be a challenge to others and not just loyalists to reciprocate and to accept the hurt they caused. Brian Rowan, UTV Live Tonight.